Hello, and welcome to another session of Learn with Optmyzr. My name is Fred Valles. I'm one of the co-founders at Optmyzr, and I'm one of your hosts for today's session. So today we wanted to talk about Amazon. As many of you probably have heard, just about 2 weeks ago, news came out that Amazon is now the third biggest ad spending platform or ad platform in the United States. So you got Google at number one, Facebook at number two, and now Amazon is accounting for more than 10% of US online ad dollars. So that's pretty big news. They were about 7.3% the year before, so that is pretty massive growth. We want to make sure that we're helping our customers who are managing these Amazon accounts. So we've been working on Amazon capabilities for quite some time, but we have a new slate of innovations and new features and new product updates that we wanted to share with you today. So to help me with that, I'm bringing in a couple of folks from the team. So I got my co-founder, Gitanjali, and we also are bringing in a first-time Optmyzr speaker to lead the session, Reshma. So Reshma, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Hey, Fred, I'm doing good. Thank you, and I'm happy to be part of the session today.
Awesome. Can't wait to see what you're going to tell us about Amazon. Gitanjali, how are you doing today?
Good. Finally enjoying the good spring weather after months of darkness.
Yes, the days are very long now in Denmark, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, good. And for the folks watching, we always love it if you say hello in the comments section. So use the comments to tell us where you're calling in from, but you can also use it to ask us questions and put in comments. If there's anything you want to ask us more privately, you can always email support@optmyzr.com. But with that, let's take a look at the agenda here. So let's see. What we're going to talk about today is Amazon Special. And the agenda that we've put together is a quick roundup of all of the existing capabilities that we have. We're going to do a walkthrough of new features. The new features are the all-new account dashboard, updates to reporting. Specifically, we can now do multi-account reporting with Amazon. We have a new one-click optimization. So that's the super quick optimization to do suggested bids. Amazon makes suggested bids, and we're going to make it much easier to set those up for you. And then we also have Optmyzr Express. So if you do not want to do a full-fledged optimization, but you just want to have a quick win, we have 3 new ones for that. We're having positive, negative, and non-converting keywords. And then Rule Engine, that was our original capability that we had for Amazon. We've added a couple of new instant strategies to that, so we're going to take a look at those. But perhaps some of the biggest news here is that we're actually launching a standalone Amazon offering. So if you do not manage Google Ads, you don't manage Microsoft Ads, but you just want to manage Amazon using Optmyzr, you can now do that at a much lower price point, right? So we have fewer capabilities for Amazon. So we also thought it'd be fair to put a lower price point with that. So it's $79 US, 79 euros. We'll tell you at the end how exactly you sign up for that. But with that, Reshma, show us some of the existing features first and what people might have already seen before.
Sure. So I'll quickly jump into the existing features. As you said, we've been having the option of setting up alerts for Amazon accounts. So you can find the page under Insights and quickly go into Alerts. Once you click on Add a new alert, you can select the metric. And here you have the option of adding your Amazon ad account. And once you select it, you have the option of setting up alert at either the account or at the campaign level. So if you choose to do this at the account level, here are the metrics that you can actually start setting up alerts for. So apart from the usual clicks, conversion value, you also have the option to set up custom metrics, for example, engagement rate. So if you say choose profit for this, you can choose whether a higher value is better. That would probably make sense for an engagement rate or CPC percentage, and then give an allowed deviation so that you don't get notified for something within that. And yes, you can specify the value for the metric that you're trying to set up the alert for, or go for an automatic target as well, which looks at the last 8 weeks of running data. And the final step would be to choose who needs to be notified when this target is met, so you can stay on top of things. So that's about alerts. I'll also quickly move into, yeah.
Yeah, so and that's very similar, I guess, to how you do alerts for all of the other platforms. And we had a recent session on Learn with Optmyzr to show how that worked for Google, for example. But now you can do the exact same thing for Amazon. By the way, those custom metrics, those are cool too, right? So how do people set those up?
So all you have to do is select the one that you want to go ahead with. And you can also choose to decide how the custom metric is calculated. And then, yeah, the rest of the steps would remain the same.
Right.
So, Fred, you can set up that custom metric on the MCC dashboard, where you can put in the formula to set it up. The other thing I wanted to point out with alerts was you can also get the alerts for Amazon on your Slack channel, and you can also do a Zapier integration to get it in your other workflow channels. Like if you want to create a task for an alert that was generated uh, for Amazon, you can do it in Asana or Basecamp or any of those channels.
Right. And so again, the same functionality that we've seen for Google accounts. And then when you talk about Zapier integration and Slack, people can do that for Blueprint. So any tasks that are due, you can automatically send into those channels, but you can also do it for alert.
Yes, that's correct. And we're also launching a native integration with Microsoft Teams soon, the way we have with Slack.
Okay, excellent. All right, Reshma, back to you.
Okay. Great. So I'd like to quickly show how you can set up a multi-account report. And it's really interesting because you can pull in data from your existing Google Ads, Microsoft, Facebook, and Amazon Ads accounts and put them all together in a single report. So we've already discussed this in a previous session, but you have a separate widget to pull in your Amazon Insights. And let me quickly move to that. You go to Amazon Performance and you'll be able to pull in the account that you need to be reporting on, your segment, and so on and so forth. So how do you decide your date ranges and which are the accounts that you want to create the report for? That's back on top. You choose the account selector and date range selector. And again, you have the option of doing the same thing for calculated metrics. So here I've selected a Google Ads account, Microsoft, and Amazon, just to show you how you can pull in data from these platforms together. And these are the date ranges that I'm using for this particular report. So if you come further down, what's also interesting is in Amazon, you don't have a way to add labels, and you can actually go ahead and do this using reporting here, where you move back on top and say, choose the account, the Amazon ads account, and add in all your brand campaigns and label them by a particular way. So all you have to do is hit manage labels, and the tool takes you to an interface where you can group campaigns together and add a label for them. So I just quickly show that as well. Yes. So yeah, you can pick up the campaigns, add a particular label, and I've already added one for brand and non-brand. So how this becomes interesting is you can actually compare performance for your brand campaigns versus non-brand campaigns. And quickly moving to how multi-account widgets would help is if you'd like a quick performance summary of all your ad accounts put together. You can select these accounts, so your Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, choose the date range that you want to create the report for, and the rest of the steps would remain the same. So just a quick preview of what the report would look like. So I've just pulled it up for the last month. And yeah, these are the multi-account KPIs for the accounts that I've selected, and a further summary for impressions, clicks, and so on. Coming further down, yeah, I'm comparing my brand and non-brand campaigns within the Amazon account that I've selected.
Yeah, so this is cool because we've added a couple of capabilities, like you said, labels that might not natively exist in some of the platforms. Now, even when they do exist, like in Google and Microsoft, this is still nice because if you're an agency, sometimes you want to like segment stuff a certain way, but you don't necessarily want your client to see that you're doing it that way. So by using the Optmyzr label as opposed to the platform label, you can do sort of all the things you need to do, but keep it a bit secret and protect your secret sauce, I suppose. And then with those custom metrics, that's interesting too, right? So, I mean, I'm thinking about Amazon and how they like to run stuff on ACoS. And ACoS is basically the inverse of ROAS. So if you're combining Google data and Amazon data, like these two metrics don't really speak to each other, but you could normalize them. And so still have one report that does that by using these custom calculated metrics.
Yes. Any other point that you'd like me to add here?
No, I'm happy with that.
Okay, perfect. I'll then move on, jump into the new features that we have, the new updates. I think we've seen the MCC dashboard where you can see an overview of different performance KPIs. But now we've opened up the account dashboard, which becomes a really fast way of understanding how your account is performing. And you have different views. So again, depending on what might be important to you, if you pick up the conversions view, you'll see data changing according to that. And then you can even see trends of how your ACoS is changing, pick up your top campaigns or keywords for these particular metrics. So just to show you, yeah, these are how the account is performing, and you can quickly compare your conversions versus cost per conversion, or again, anything else that you would like to set up. So even if you want to look at ACoS versus a metric that would give you more insights, and even further come down and look at your top campaigns or keywords. And what's also interesting is we pulled up the ACoS value at these levels and even ROAS. So once you click this, you'll be able to see your top campaigns this way. And right now, the date range that's selected is 30 days. You can even go ahead and look at other date ranges to understand performance using the account.
Actually, this is my question for you, but do we go back further than 90 days now?
Not right now, but we are. So there are some limitations with the Amazon API where we only get last 60 days of data at any given point. But what we started doing is if you've linked your account to Optmyzr, then we are now caching more data. So you'll be able to see last 90 days of data. And gradually we will increase it to a longer date range.
Right, but the whole thing does depend on when you connect your Amazon accounts, because until that point, there's just a strict limitation from Amazon itself that they don't give data beyond a certain point.
Yeah.
So the quicker you connect these accounts, the better.
Yeah. So if we get access to your Amazon accounts today, then we'll only have last 60 days of data because that's what the Amazon Ads API gives.
Yeah. Cool.
Great. And the account dashboard actually also points you to the new feature we have for Optmyzr Express. So I quickly move to that. And you can even see the suggestions given by the tool right here on the dashboard. But just going back to this is as a new feature, you can now very quickly view suggestions across all your Amazon Ads accounts and really just breeze through quick optimizations, right? So you can see negative keywords that you can add. So ads that might, keywords that might not be relevant, pause your non-converting keywords, and you can actually go ahead and hover over each suggestion and see why this is actually a top suggestion for a non-converting keyword. You can see the ad group it belongs to and so on and so forth. So working with these top suggestions becomes really easy, and all you have to hit apply and it's taken care of.
Easy.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, if you would like to just work account wise, you can do that, or just go ahead and select all your Amazon ads accounts together and work through these top suggestions.
But that's a good point. So these Amazon suggestions can now be interspersed with like Google suggestions. So if you manage all types of accounts, you go through Optmyzr Express, everything's there. Or if you just do Amazon, you can just do it for Amazon as well. You can choose. Cool. All right. And then what if people want to do like a full-fledged standard one-click optimization?
Yes, we have something that's quite interesting here for manual bidding. So this one-click optimization helps you very quickly prioritize bidding suggestions for increasing at the keyword level. And these are pulled in, and you can actually go ahead and instead of looking at just the top suggestions, you can go ahead and create your own filter. So what that would mean is you can choose to just see suggestions where the difference between the current bid and the newly suggested bid is less. It's just maybe 20 to 30 percentage, and then see suggestions according to that. And once you can choose the ones that you think are good to go for the ad group and campaign, and hit apply changes.
Cool. And then, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because you can, if not for the top suggestions, you can also base it on a longer date range and decide if you would want to change bids. And suppose you just want to do it in bulk, right? So you want to increase your bids for all your keywords by a certain percentage, you can do that for all the selected keyword suggestions.
Right, so you could take the suggested minimum, but go a little bit above that, rather than taking the actual minimum that Amazon suggests. And by the way, just I think most people are familiar with how Amazon does it, but these suggestions for min and max are from Amazon itself. So what we're doing is we're putting those on the screen and making you build a workflow around it.
So by default, we recommend bidding 10% higher than the suggested bid. So which automatically puts you above the minimum, but not right at the top with the suggested maximum.
Yeah.
Great. I'll move forward. So we have two new instance strategies in Rule Engine. I'm going to quickly add that. And what's most interesting about Rule Engine is you can go ahead and automate any strategy that you set up using this tool. So we'd actually already discussed in detail about how to pull up a keyword performance report for your account and go ahead and even automate this to run on schedule. So you'll have this mail to your account. And even apart from that, bidding to your target ACOS to get. So these are things that you can also automate using Rule Engine. Quickly moving to what we have as new instance strategies. We have one for optimizing your existing search queries and adding them as new keywords. So I'll quickly move into how you can set it up. I think I already have one right here. I'm going to click edit. And these are the conditions that we're looking at. We're looking at if the search query is converting or if it has had a high CTR in the last 30 days. And what's always interesting is these are thresholds you can change based on how your account is performing and choose to add the search term as keyword basis that. And this is a good idea to have as a report because you can stay on top of search queries that are garnering impressions above your threshold and that have a high CTR compared to your keyword average.
Yeah, exactly. And let's pause on that thing that you just said, right? And this is really difficult to do, not just in Amazon, but even in Google, is the relative comparison of things. So you said your search term CTR is high relative to the keyword that triggered that search term. So we're basically pulling in two distinct pieces of data from two different APIs. If you were doing it in the front end, you'd have to also look at two different reports. And then we're doing a calculation on top of that, right? And so that's super powerful because you can specify that logic once, and then we can automatically run it for you in a matter of seconds every time you want to look at this analysis.
Yes.
And to add to that, what this enables you to do is you don't have to, when you build a strategy, it can actually scale across all your accounts because you are using relative data from each of these accounts. So you don't have to say something like CTR greater than 5% or even ACOS less than X. You can always compare it to the same, or you can compare a search keyword or an ad group to its own peers instead of having to rely on random numbers.
Yeah, really powerful.
Yes. And I've just opened up the suggestions. And in this case, it's just a demo, but right now I've reduced the threshold to 10 just to sort of pick up a suggestion. But yes, you will be able to see the search term that matches these conditions. And on the left, you'll be able to see which rule did your search term
You
match?
can scroll a little bit on that. So there's a little StreamYard box that's hiding your screen.
Yes. Yeah. So you'll be able to see other data, clicks and spend, which is also added as conditions in the rule. And yeah, so the next step would be if you're liking how this is working for you, you can go ahead and automate this strategy. So keywords will be added automatically basis your conditions, and this is taken care of.
Right, and so on the automation, maybe go back to that one more time and click continue.
Yes.
Right, so you have a number of options here. So even if you just want to get an automatic notification that suggestions are ready, you can do that. You don't have to do the apply changes from the very start. So that's probably my recommendation, is that you put it on notify. You can even export the results to a Google Sheet. So that's a really cool way to have a historical reference, or maybe use it to do something else before you apply it. But once you've really built it out and a number of times you've looked at it, the suggestions look good, you trust them, it's doing what you expected it to do, then you can also start applying the changes by itself.
Yes. And yeah, so that's about adding search queries that are performing well. We also have another strategy that can help you change your bits basis your target ACOS. So again, we're basically looking at two things. If your keywords are actually converting, and comparing your current ACOS with your target. So again, you can change these numbers based on your requirement. And on the right, we have an expression that basically factors in your current bid and current ACOS versus your target ACOS, and helps you reduce or increase them to reach your target, basically. So if I quickly hit view suggestions, again, this is something that you can pull into a report and have it mailed. And once you're comfortable with the kind of changes that the strategy is making, you can then go ahead and automate, just like Fred mentioned. So yes, on the left, you can see the rule that it matched. And here we're recommending to decrease the bid for the keyword because of the conditions.
Yeah. Very good. And then there was also something on the settings screen to exclude things that you've already changed in like the last 7 days. So that's also really powerful, right? So if you're doing an ACOS-based calculation, like in this case, it's relatively safe to run this automation frequently, because every time it's just taking your conversion rate basically to calculate what should the new bid be. And that's only going to change a little bit from time to time, from hour to hour, day to day. However, if you have a rule where you say, I'm going to find high performing keywords and I'm going to increase the bid 10%, obviously, if you keep doing that day after day and you're using 30 days of historical data to decide what's good, you're probably going to be pushing these bids too high. So that little exclusion there helps you prevent stacking your bids and ending up spending your whole budget in a day or two.
Yes.
Good. Well, awesome stuff. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so then let's come down to the final thing. So that price point that we mentioned. So Gitanjali, you want to talk us through that, what that looks like and how people can access it?
Sure. So we do have an Amazon only plan now. So if you're not, like Fred mentioned, if you're not managing Google Ads or Microsoft ad accounts and you're only managing Amazon ads accounts, you can get access to Optmyzr and all the features and automation for Amazon that Reshma just showed. The plan starts at $79 per month, and the way you can access it right now is when you sign up for a trial on the settings page, you will have the option to choose an Amazon only plan, and we'll ask you the number of accounts and spend you'd like to manage and send you a sign up link for an Amazon only plan.
Cool. All right. Reshma, thank you. Thank you. Everyone, thanks for watching. We do these educational videos about Optmyzr roughly every 2 weeks, so subscribe to the channel if you want to know when we're doing the next one. We also have PPC Town Hall, where we talk a little bit higher level about the industry. We have our next session coming up on next Wednesday. We're going to talk about a world of keyword advertising where the keyword is less important. So basically, what do we do when exact match becomes less exact, when broad match modified goes away, when Google gives us less search query data? And we're going to talk to some real PPC experts and agencies to hear how they're dealing with these changes. And we also have the Unlevel user conference for Optmyzr users. So if you haven't heard about that, look in your email inboxes. We're sending out those invitations soon. And we're really looking forward to having a great session there and showing you lots of stuff we're working on, getting feedback about what we should work on next. With that, we'll wrap it up here. Have a happy Tuesday, and we'll see you for the next one.